we have lost in the state of Missouri 50,000 jobs to China just in the last 20 years. I don't recall the New York Times shedding too many tears about that. But now we're supposed to feel sorry for these workers in China who, by the way, as you said, are being treated like slaves. Here's the issue. President Trump is absolutely right to go after China. He's absolutely right to make sure that we can rebuild our manufacturing capacity, to make sure we can protect our jobs, and to stop China from dumping their exports into our markets and destroying entire industries. They've already taken millions of our jobs. We cannot let this go on any longer. And the president, he gets it.
Hawley's position on Trump's China policies in response to President Trump. As recent imposition of a 10% baseline tariff and steeper reciprocal tariffs on Chinese imports, which led to significant market volatility, Senator Hawley supported the move. He emphasized the need for robust action against China's trade practices and advocated for higher tariffs to protect American interests. While some Republican senators expressed concerns over the economic impact of these tariffs, Hawley remained steadfast in his support, viewing them as necessary tools to counter China's economic strategies, legislative initiatives, and criticisms. Hawley has introduced several legislative measures targeting China's influence and activities. National Security and Personal Data Protection Act. This bill aimed to prohibit American companies from storing user data or encryption keys in China. Addressing concerns over data security and potential surveillance. Taiwan Defense Act, introduced to strengthen U.S. commitments to Taiwan's defense. This act sought to deter Chinese aggression and affirm support for Taiwan's sovereignty. Trade Organization. Hawley called for the U.S. to withdraw from the WTO, arguing that it facilitated China's rise at the expense of American workers. In 2025, Hawley proposed legislation to criminalize the use of Chinese-developed AI models, such as DeepSeek, citing national security risks. The bill included penalties of up to 20 years in prison and a $1 million fine. And it aimed to prohibit academic collaborations with Chinese response to TikTok policy delays. When President Trump unilaterally delayed the enforcement of the TikTok divestiture law by 75 days, a move that contradicted bipartisan legislation, Hawley, known for his strong stance against Chinese tech influence, remained notably silent. This silence was observed among several GOP China hawks, raising questions about internal party dynamics and the balance between national security concerns and political considerations. The economic landscape between the United States and China has undergone a seismic shift in 2025, marked by aggressive tariff policies under President Donald Trump's administration and bolstered by Senator Josh Hawley's legislative initiatives. Trump's tariff escalation. A chronology. President Trump's second term has been characterized by a series of escalating tariffs, aimed at addressing what he perceives as unfair trade practices by China. On February 1, 2025, he signed Executive Order 14,195, posing a 10% baseline tariff on all Chinese imports, citing China's role in the fentanyl crisis. This was followed by incremental increases, a 10% hike on March 4th, raising the total to 20%, and a significant 34% reciprocal tariff on April 2nd, culminating in an effective 54% tariff on Chinese goods. China retaliated with its own tariffs, leading to a tit-for-tat escalation that saw U.S. tariffs reach 145% and Chinese tariffs at 125% by mid-April. Senator Josh Hawley's legislative initiatives. Senator Josh Hawley has been a vocal advocate for a hardline stance against China. In 2025, he proposed legislation to criminalize the use of Chinese-developed AI models, such as DeepSeek, citing national security risks. The bill included penalties of up to 20 years in prison and a $1 million fine, and it aimed to prohibit academic collaborations with Chinese AI researchers. Hawley's legislative efforts align with the administration's broader strategy to decouple economically from China and protect U.S. technological interests. Global economic ramifications. The aggressive tariff policies have not only strained U.S.-China relations, but have also had significant global economic impacts. The World Trade Organization projects a 0.2% decline in global trade for 2025, a stark reversal from the previous year's 3% growth. The decoupling of the U.S. and China is expected to result in an 80% drop in bilateral merchandise trade, signaling a shift towards two separate global trade blocs. The WTO warns that ongoing trade policy uncertainty is hindering global economic growth, particularly affecting vulnerable economies. Market reactions and sectoral impacts. Financial markets have responded with volatility to the escalating trade tensions. Following the U.S. administration's tightened export restrictions on chips to China, global stocks and the U.S. dollar experienced sharp declines. NVIDIA, a leading AI chip manufacturer, anticipates a $5.5 billion loss due to the ban on its AI chips in China. The technology sector, heavily reliant on global supply chains, faces significant disruptions as a result of these policies. Political dynamics and criticisms. While Senator Hawley and other China hawks support the administration's hardline approach, there is growing concern among other political figures and economists about the domestic impacts of the tariffs. Critics argue that the tariffs have led to job losses and export declines, portraying them as strategic blunders driven by personal vendettas. The administration's decision to delay the enforcement of the TikTok divestiture law by 75 days, contradicting bipartisan legislation, has also raised questions about internal party dynamics and the balance between national security concerns and political considerations. Latest news and breaking headlines. Senator Josh Hawley's approach to China reflects a commitment to aggressive policies aimed at curbing China's global influence and protecting U.S. interests, while he generally aligns with Trump's hardline stance. Hawley has demonstrated a willingness to pursue even more stringent measures, particularly concerning technology and national security. His legislative efforts and public statements underscore a broader strategy to confront China's rise through economic, technological, and military means. Stay tuned for more information.